All right. I never saw this one coming, as evidenced by the tattoo on my chest. I never imagined that the trademark symbol of a fictional comic book character would be considered by anyone to be a symbol of hate. In recent years, and especially after the Capitol Riots, the skull symbol adopted by Frank Castle, aka the Punisher, and modified several times over through its more than 40-year history, has come under fire. And it really fucking sucks. Not just for me, but for the many lifelong fans of this amazing character. It's unfortunate that the Punisher's signature skull has been co-opted in recent years to instill fear and worry throughout the country, but I'm also not going to pretend for a second, as I've heard others say in defense of this character and symbol, that it's not precisely what the symbol is supposed to express. The Punisher stands for vigilante justice, vengeance, and obviously punishment. So technically, the rioters, they were using it correctly. From their perspective, they were there to combat or make a stand against something criminal, corruption at the highest level that the law was overlooking. Exactly the type of justice doled out by Frank Castle in the Punisher comics, TV series, and films. Unfortunately, their view is misguided. They believe they are defending the country from a hostile takeover of sorts, which it's simply not true. So the symbol is absolutely supposed to evoke these feelings from criminals, and it's supposed to stand for vigilante justice, but it's supposed to do this in a fictional world. A world that I happen to love. And I'm not alone. All right. Let's dig into this article that kind of breaks down what's going on with this whole Punisher and Punisher Skull controversy. So the article is from InsideTheMagic.net. It says industry figures call on Marvel to retire corrupted Punisher amid Capitol riots. Significant voices in the comic book industry have called on Marvel Comics to retire the Punisher character. They feel it has become corrupted due to its logo's use in last week's United States Capitol building riots. Several groups have used the iconic skull logo over the years, but seeing it on rioters' shirts at the Capitol pushed some on social media over the edge. Some Twitter users call for Marvel to be firmer on copyright infringements, while others call for Frank Castle's retirement from the Marvel Universe, stating that the concept behind him is corrupted. Now, this is me talking here. The idea that Marvel could be firmer on copyright infringements, yeah, I mean, that's something. That could be something. They could definitely not let other companies or any groups, official groups, use their symbol. They could definitely, go after them in court. So that would be one way to stop people from co-opting this symbol. But anyway, let's go on. Who is the Punisher? Frank Castle, aka the Punisher, has been a staple of the Marvel Comics universe for years. He has been an ally and enemy of many a Marvel hero, including Daredevil and Deadpool, in addition to popular Avengers like Scarlet Witch and Black Widow. He's best known for his Netflix series where Jon Bernthal played him. It says this is also technically the MCU's version of the character for now. Unfortunately, Netflix didn't invite Jon Bernthal's Castle to be part of the Defenders alongside Luke Cage, Iron Fist, and Jessica Jones. However, the character also starred in several movies and was famously played by Dolph Lundgren in the 1989 film The Punisher. The Punisher is known for his incredibly violent way of dealing with things, something you'd never see in a Marvel Studios movie. Frank Castle views all criminals as worthy of death, and he wears his iconic Punisher skull to strike fear into the hearts of villains. Some debate whether Castle is a hero or simply an anti-hero, vigilante, who uses his own grief to justify his brutal methods. Why is the Punisher logo controversial? Castle's proclivity towards murder as a solution for crime has been his defining trait since Marvel first introduced the character in Amazing Spider-Man number 29 in 1974. The murder of his family has historically driven his intense bloodlust, but that hasn't stopped him from coming to blows with more morally virtuous superheroes like Daredevil and Spider-Man. Indeed, we saw this play out in the Daredevil Netflix series as Season 2 pits Charlie Cox's Matt Murdock's non-lethal brand of crime fighting at odds with Castle's desire for vengeance. However, while the anti-heroic Castle was a mere outlier of the Marvel Universe, his logo has been used in the real world by several groups. In particular, many Blue Lives Matter rallies and police officers and soldiers have been known to adopt the logo. Last week's use of the logo by the Capitol Rioters, however, has brought about significant online controversy. Who is saying it's time to retire the Punisher? As expected, there were many Twitter users who called out the rioters for wearing the logo. However, many of these voices also came from prominent industry figures, including Mitch Gerads, who worked on the Punisher for 20 issues and designed the new Skull logo. Check out what he had to say. He says, "Yep, I worked on Punisher for 20 issues. I designed a new skull. I designed a patch for charity. Seeing it used by these groups today shows Marvel needs to retire it till it's no longer adopted as a symbol of hate." Other prominent comic book figures included black artist Jamal Igle and Van Jensen, a writer on many properties including James Bond comics, Green Lantern, and The Flash. Take a look. It says, "I don't say this lightly. It's time for Marvel to put the Punisher out to pasture. The concept is corrupted. Hey, Marvel, I love the Punisher, but that character and symbol are corrupted forever. It's time to retire Frank Castle." Popular comic-based YouTuber Comic Tropes also chimed in. "The seditionists that invaded the Capitol today wore a Punisher logo. I say Marvel needs to either aggressively enforce their trademark so it isn't printed everywhere, or abandon the Punisher completely. You can't allow your characters to be used by terrorists. It's one thing for your average Twitter user to suggest canceling a character, but quite another for prolific artists and writers to speak out, particularly one who worked on the character. Whether or not Marvel Comics will crack down on the logo usage or retire the Punisher completely remains to be seen. Inside the Magic will continue to follow the situation as it evolves." So, there you have it. Gotta say, the idea of enforcing copyright makes a lot of sense, but I am very much against retiring the character. Listen, I understand the apprehension, but I think we need to take a stand on these things. We can't let misguided assholes take away things that we love. We shouldn't destroy art for the sake of comfort. I love Frank Castle. I love the Punisher, and I love the stories that revolve around him. And I think if you get rid of him or his iconic symbol, you are in a sense surrendering to the very people who are trying to take away what we love. If we give it up, we are essentially giving it to them, saying, "It's yours," and we'll be giving their use of it more power in the end. Also, as I said, with the tattoo, I'm sure I'm a bit biased. I mean, nobody wants to be walking around with what the world considers a hate symbol tattooed on their chest. So, take what I'm saying with a grain of salt. It definitely comes from a biased stance. But listen, if you feel like me, please speak up. Be heard. Fight for what you love, whether it be free speech, freedom of expression and creativity, or simply the freedom to continue to enjoy the art we have enjoyed for decades and want to continue enjoying for decades to come. If you enjoy videos like this, look, here's what I do. Videos and podcasts like this. What I do on this channel is every day I pick a random topic, something that interests me. It's usually pop culture or entertainment related, but sometimes it's just my commentary on current events. Sometimes it's personal life stories, all kinds of things. But if that interests you, if that's something you can vibe with, I try to do it every day. I'm not perfect, but most days I'm putting out some content. And so if you want something new and interesting in your feed every day, then please subscribe or favorite or follow the podcast. And if you decide to stick around and favorite or follow or subscribe to the YouTube channel, then I will talk to you again tomorrow.